If you are a victim blamer, this is not the video for you. If you like to sweep trauma under the rug, this is not the video for you. The response to a deeply distressing or disturbing event that overwhelms one's ability to cope. Hey everyone, doing these videos in therapy, I am healing from my trauma at a supersonic speed because ain't nobody got time to be having this baggage all up on you. It's already been how many years? So I gotta let this shit go. And that's why I am healing from my childhood trauma. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching my videos and following me on my healing journey. Hit the subscribe button below. That's what I'm supposed to say, right? I don't know which side it's on, but I finally got like a light, so hopefully this encourages me to take myself seriously as a vlogger, because the one video every 2 months, like clearly I'm, you know. But within that, I've been doing a lot of healing. I'm in 4 different therapy type groups. Well, 2 of them are actual therapy. One is a webinar and one is like a spiritual group. And they're awesome and they've been helping me. And this video will probably be a lot of me, you know, voiceover work and me writing things on the screen, because I just have notes and notes and notes of what I've been going through and healing through this process. So, as you know, I've been healing my inner child, and this video is about identifying your traumas. Therapy has been really great for me. My therapist, I have 2 of them. They are for my individual therapy. They are great and they help me just put things into perspective and put puzzle pieces together in my life and make me just realize things that I've never realized. Recently, I made a video about this on my Instagram, how they said it sounds like I come from a family that does not acknowledge trauma. And that was just so mind-blowing to me. Seems like a lot of people, you know, try not to acknowledge trauma, you know, try to move forward, but when you have that negative emotional baggage on you, it could just really just bring you down. And that's not what I want. I choose happiness. I choose to be free. And I am getting there. I'm way more happy than I am sad. I'll tell you that. Or angry. Just because it takes too much out of me to have those negative emotions. But let me say that throughout this healing journey, you gotta, you know, release toxic people out your life. You have to set boundaries, and you realize things, and you might get angry or hurt or all that, but as long as you're not, you know, doing anything malice or don't have an ill intent, you know, to hurt anyone and this, that, and the other, you'll be able to do it and you'll be able to succeed. I just see myself like shining and being happier, and I'm loving it. And it's not fugazi, it's genuine, it's authentic. And that's what I'm all about anyway, is just being real and being able to accept myself, being able to accept my circumstances or the traumas that have happened to me. That doesn't mean I'm okay with those traumas, but I'm accepting that they're a part of my story. Being able to accept people for who they are and accepting the fact that they're not going to be who I want them to be, which has been really hard for me, but it's just like, come on, it's inevitable. You have to just accept people. That doesn't mean I have to be in cahoots with them and stuff, but I'm accepting them and I can accept you from a distance. But let's see, let me first say that trauma does not discriminate. There's so many types of trauma, so what I'm going to do is, you know, talk about mine. So I encourage you to do the research and figure yours out. The symptoms of trauma can be depression, disassociation, anxiety, anger issues, shock, denial, confusion, lack of focus, muscle tension, racing heartbeats, fatigue, lack of energy, sleep problems, mysterious aches and pains. And it has long-lasting emotional effects on you too. So like you can think of your trauma out of the blue. You can have nightmares, mood swings, visual images of the event, loss of memory, disorientation, confusion, avoidance of activities or places that trigger event memories, social isolation, and withdrawal. You're easily startled, you know, you might have bad habits like pulling out your hair, disbelief, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, disattachment, OCD, shame, emotional guilt. There's so many people, or even yourself, just living with these emotions, and we just don't be knowing, and we just, it's all about, you know, finding the root, because that untreated trauma can really have an effect on your life. Let me say this, like, just an example, because I'm not just talking about, I still deal with trauma as an adult, and it happens every day. So earlier this year, 2020 just been traumatic. 2020 been the most, I'm just so over 2020, and I'm just like, please, 2021, come in here, like, you got some sense, please. So, let me just say this real quick, because I don't think I've told this story. The beginning of 2020, January, like, 11th or something like that, it was one of my friend's birthdays, or, I went, and Chris dropped me off. My friends, Lord help us. So there were two parts to this club. There was like a reggaeton area where the bathrooms were. That was really like a smaller part of the club. And then there was like the big main hip hop part. And so one of my friends, where we don't go, we're women, we don't go to the bathrooms by ourselves, you know, like at a club. So I see one of my friends kind of like walking over to the reggaeton side like that. And I was like, okay, maybe she sees somebody she knows, because she wouldn't just walk to the bathroom by herself. And so I turn around, and then she runs back, and I'm like, what? And she's like, let's go. And I'm like, ma'am, what? Like, do you see somebody? Did you see an ex? What's going on? And she's like, I'll explain outside. Let's go. So I don't remember how many of us it was. It couldn't have been more than like 7, but let's just say five of them ran out, and it was me and my other friend left. And she drunk. She got her drink in her hand, and I'm always only sober one too. So I grab her, and I grab her purse, and I start seeing people kind of like fleeing towards the way that wasn't the normal exit. So, and that wasn't the way we came in. We came in through the reggaeton, but nobody was really fleeing. Like, the club was still kind of popping. But then I start seeing like security come to the main side, or come to the part we're in, and I'm confused. So I'm like, we gotta go, girl, let's go. Like, so my brain tells me to go the way I came. And so we go out that way, guys, and Lord have mercy. I see a body on the floor, and there's people standing over her, and I see blood coming out the front of her pants. Like, I'm sorry. Oh, shit. Trauma. That was a very traumatic experience. Lord. So I'm just like, and the weird thing is, like, everything was silent, and that, like, I couldn't hear anything. It was like a scene of a movie. And my friend, you know, was so like disoriented, because she didn't know what was going on. She like, why are we leaving? What's going on? She's like, gosh. And then I'm like, we gotta go. Let's go. So we're rushing down the stairs. She throw her drink on the floor, like, mad, like, man, I was trying to get some numbers tonight, you know? So by the time we're outside, there's an ambulance pulling up, and it's just, Lord. And our other friends, we thought they left us, but they were in the parking lot waiting to see if they had to take us home. But I had called Chris, and he was on his way. So within the like 30 minutes, you know, it took for Chris to get there. There were so many stories we had heard that were happening within that. Somebody got shot, this, that, and the other, and it was just a lot. So ultimately, a young lady got stabbed, and she got stabbed to death, and she was only like 23 or 24. She was young and beautiful. And man, I say all this to say that this happened at a club. It was my first time at this club, but it was by Pico. Let me say, did y'all hear when it said avoidance or activities of places that trigger event and memories? I do not want to pass down that street. I don't even know where it is, but every time I cross I usually cross like La Brea and Pico, and it was off of Pico. I do not want to drive down Pico. I'd be like, and like, granted, it was more over between like Pico and Crenshaw. So whenever I drive back past Pico, especially at night, I kind of like tense up, like, oh my God, I can't believe I seen a dead body that night. Like, bless her heart. I hope her family's okay. So it's like, trauma can just come from anywhere. Trauma happens. It's inevitable. I didn't know that somebody was going to get murdered that night, and I was going to see her body, and this, that, and the other. But that was a traumatic experience for me. So I just want to point out that I still deal with trauma as an adult, and it doesn't have to be associated with something that happened to me as a child. But I just want to use an example. May that young lady rest in peace. My types of trauma:
physical abuse, physical neglect, family violence, school violence, life-threatening accidents and/or injuries, loss or separation from a parent or loved one, forced displacement, discrimination, rape, attempted rape, emotional abuse, emotional neglect, sexual abuse, medical trauma.
One of my driving forces is like protecting people, and sometimes I wish I wasn't like that, because who protects me? But I guess it doesn't make me a bad person. So I want to protect people who are getting hurt and abused and this, that, and the other. You know, I'm not angry. I'm not mad at the world. I don't have a chip on my shoulder. My demeanor. Sometimes though, I hate to say this, but sometimes I wish like I wasn't approachable, because people approach me and I'd be like, what makes you think I feel like talking to you? Like, damn, like, I need to walk around with resting bitch face. Like, I'll be walking down the street, somebody will talk to me, and I'm just like, God, you know? And then part of me is like, well, at least, you know, because in high school, middle school, people were scared of me just based on my stature. So part of me is like, good, but then sometimes I just don't feel like talking to people. And I'm a buyer, not a seller, and I hate that about myself. Oh my gosh, guys, I need to work on that too next. Because like in the malls, you know, when people are selling things at the kiosk, they can stop me and talk to me and probably make me buy something I don't want to, but I don't want to be mean. Like, damn, like, why do I do this? So now, you know, I'm working on things like pretending to be on the phone, like, you know, when all the like voting registration, like the canvassers are coming out, I'm like, I'm sorry, I am registered to vote in Colorado. I'm just visiting. Oh. Is that my car? Sorry. So, yeah, like I'm working on it. Just like, but I don't feel like talking. Like, please. Like, I'm going through a lot mentally. So please don't talk to me. When people would, you know, tell me or make me feel like I was just this menace to society, like I was putting Vagisil in toothpaste or something. I don't know. Like, people made me feel like I was that type of kid, and I really wasn't. Like, I had cousins who didn't have dads, and I wasn't saying, my dad loved me and your dad don't love you. And like people, I'm like, and I don't want, and I'm like, what would I do? So I really just got to sit down with my cousins and be like, what would I do to you? Granted, one of my cousins has like told me that I would like, I'm sorry, this might have been the only child in me, but I would want to like do things like have lemonade sales or do performances, and if she didn't want to do them, like I would be mad at her. So I guess that made, I don't know, did that make me abusive? But I was also, you know, not, I've said this before, my last video, I wasn't as quiet as my other cousins. So I believe, you know, coming from a Black family where children should be seen and not heard, I wanted to be heard and seen, because, yeah, and that just made me the worst one. But I wasn't, man, like, and that's another thing, like, people have made stories up in their head to try to convince them that I was just this menace to society, and that don't be true. Like, even my grandma had to try to say something. Like, remember you jumped on the teacher? Bruh. And I was like, and so I told my dad, he was there, and this was when I was in Denver. I don't know if I said this in the last video, but my dad was like, yeah, my daughter never jumped on any teacher. That's not what type of kid she was. But I'm like, thank you. Like, what the hell? It looked like jumping on a teacher. Me and, like, she made it seem like I was trying to fight the teacher. Like, I'm really not a fighter. It just depends on the situation, or the racism. But yeah, so people have really just tried to convince themselves that I was just this menace to society. And it's just like, maybe that's their own personal issues. They need to work out with themselves and figure out, you know, why they want to put these labels on me.
Yeah, so we're doing a Sublime sidebar here. What I need you to do is, if you know me personally, especially if you're family or a family friend who grew up with me, think about what I did to you that traumatized you, or that you would, you know, add to your list of trauma. And when you figure it out, or whatever it may be, please let me know, because I am really trying to work on myself. And there are things in my childhood that I remember, and there's things that I don't. But I do not want to sound like I'm just playing the victim or crying wolf here and this, that, and the other. Although I am telling my story and there have been times I have been the victim, I am selfless enough to acknowledge if I hurt you. In my last video, I apologized to anybody I hurt who was a child when I was a child, who was a child while I was an adult, or who was an adult while I was an adult. It was the people who were adults when I was a child that I wasn't apologizing to, because I know I wouldn't cuss out adults. I wouldn't say, you're a deadbeat, get a job. You're a bitch, that's why you can't keep a man. I don't have to listen to you. You're not my real relative. It was me who killed the cat. Like, man. You're a drug addict, stop smoking crack. I mean, and I had all these, types of adults around me. So I've noticed over the years, people have heard a bad story about me and then took it and ran with it and made up their own versions of things. And I just, it's not fair to me, and it's not fair to the inner child in me. So yeah, think about that. Stay tuned for my next video where I dissect each trauma. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.